In the last episode of Theory Rocks, we learnt about ledger lines, lines above or below the stave, which allow musicians to play even higher or lower. From the first series, we know that the treble clef is for higher notes and that the bass clef is for lower notes. But where do these two clefs meet? In this episode, we're going to take another look at the treble and bass clef staves. When we look at sheet music on the piano, we can see the treble clef sits above the bass clef. The treble clef is for the right hand and the bass clef is for the left hand. If we look at the treble clef, 2 notes below the bottom line of the stave is C. If we look at the bass clef, 2 notes above the top line of the stave is C. Both of these C notes are exactly the same pitch. We call this middle C. This middle C note is found in the middle of the piano. If we move 1 note higher in both clefs, we land on the note D. Again, these notes are exactly the same pitch. In the treble clef, this D note is just above middle C. In the bass clef, this D note is also just above middle C. They sound exactly the same. Take a look at this note in the bass clef. This is the note B and is just below middle C. Which one of these 2 notes is the same pitch? The answer is number 1. This note sits just below middle C on the bass clef, whereas in number 2, this B is much higher than middle C. Now let's take a look at this note in the treble clef. This note is F, a few notes higher than middle C. Which note in the bass clef is the same pitch? The answer is number 3. This note is an F higher than middle C. The F in numbers 1 and 2 are much lower than middle C and are a different pitch. It's important to remember, when converting a note from the treble to the bass clef, you should always take into account its position in relation to middle C. If a note is above middle C in the treble clef, the same pitch must be above middle C in the bass clef, and vice versa. That's it for this video on the treble and bass clef staves. Complete the quiz below to test your knowledge.